Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to ramble. Yes, indeed, it is that time again. I'm going to do a bit of a rambly update. If you hate my rambly updates, and I wouldn't blame you, this is one you should skip, because it's probably going to ramble. So, of course, most of you are probably aware that my Let's Play Skyrim Again series has come to a conclusion. The Richard the Librarian story is done. I released the finale on Sunday, and I can tell you it took 3 days to make. I know that sounds insane. I actually played and recorded it on Thursday and started editing it immediately, and it ran into Friday and Saturday. Basically, I just wanted to get this one right. This series has been going on for a long time, and I've got quite a lot sort of emotional investment in the series, and I really wanted to do it justice. I wanted it to wrap things off without closing the door, so to speak, and do it in a way that, I don't know, just did the whole story some justice. So it took quite a lot of time. Obviously, that's why I didn't release a Skyrim mod sanctuary this weekend. I just ran out of time. And again, I apologize for missing Sunday's stream for those who were looking forward to that. I released that video on Sunday and was just watching the comment section. I have to tell you now, I was kind of nervous. I really was hoping it would get a good response, and it did, which was a relief. But, you know, there was that little edge of nervousness that I've just not had on previous episodes. Because, you know, I knew it had to work. I really had to get it right. So, and hopefully people feel I did. And, you know, I did Richard's story justice. I'm actually surprised at how well that playthrough went and how well received Richard was. I quite deliberately picked a character that was not easy to like, and in fact very easy to dislike. I wanted to play a hero because I'd not played, it was my second playthrough basically, and I'd already played an evil character, and I wanted to play a hero, but I didn't want to play a typical hero. I didn't want to play someone who was a paragon of virtue, even though, believe it or not, generally on my first playthroughs of games like that, I do generally play a nice character. I just thought it would be a little boring to watch, and so I wanted a hero who was somewhat complicated, and Richard was definitely complicated. I'm not totally sure where I got the idea from, but I do know some of my favourite books, fantasy books, have been books where the main character, the hero, was not really a good hero. The one that comes to mind when I think of Richard is a series called The Chronicles of the Unbeliever, I believe it was called. I haven't got the books on hand, they're in the other room. A character called Thomas Covenant. And it was a 6-book series, and it's probably my favourite ever fantasy series. It's a very heavy read, and it's very unique. But the main character is so unusual because he is absolutely dislikable. He's just unpleasant. You think Richard was kind of complainy and whiny and self-absorbed. He's nothing next to the Thomas Covenant character. Great series of books. Very good character, but almost impossible to like, to be honest. All the way through the series, you just want to grab him and go, "Oh, shut up!" You know, there's something about it. And I kind of wanted this from Richard. I wanted Richard to be the least likely hero, and I think he was. Not just his backstory, but his personality. And yet, underneath it all, have some kind of, nobility, some sort of heroic nobility, something about him that even though you didn't kind of like him half the time, you couldn't help but respect him. And you can see it all the way through the series, and it started reasonably early on. I believe episode 11 was a very, very short episode where Richard began to show signs of well, thinking about other people. I mean, up until about episode 11, Richard was very, very self-absorbed. Why is it all happening to me? The world is against me. It's not fair. And in episode 11, which was the one where, spoiler alert, was the one where the dragon killed some of the farmers. He failed to save them. And it brought home to him that what was happening was not just happening to him, but to everyone else. And even at that early stage where Richard was completely convinced he was an utter wimp, he did keep stepping up to the plate. He did keep putting himself in the ring and putting himself in harm's way for a greater cause. I mean, there was still the idea that he was trying to get away from the Thalmor. He was trying to find a new life, but he did seem to be willing to do the things others would not, to put himself in danger for Skyrim, for Tamriel. Now, there was an element of, I don't know what you'd call it, peer pressure. He admired Tiber Septim, and obviously the idea that he was following in his footsteps definitely appealed to Richard's vanity. But it was more than that, and you could see it in his interactions with the companions and the way he ended up reacting to them and their acceptance of him, and how devoted he felt to them, and how he ended up stepping up and becoming their leader, quite surprisingly. So, I mean, this was not supposed to be an in-depth look into the character of Richard, but so you see what I'm saying, that Richard was this character where he was easy to dislike, and yet constantly through the series, he kept growing as a hero, if not as a person. I mean, he grew as a person, but he didn't become more likable. And so I was surprised and pleased that people still warmed to him. I mean, I understood why people warmed to Steve, as evil as he was. He was kind of lovable. And I understand why people like Jack, because whilst he is, well, he's not evil, but he's definitely, shall we say, a little on the criminal side, and perhaps a tiny bit psychotic at times. But he's kind of likable, he's kind of easygoing and fun, whereas Richard never was, and yet people still warmed to him. So I was pretty happy about that. For those of you wondering what is going to happen to Richard and Skyrim in general, I'm taking obviously a fairly large break from playing Skyrim. I mean, I have played it to death, not just in this playthrough. However, I can imagine in a few months' time picking up a mod, say a quest mod, is it Return to Helgen? Helgen Reborn, and other mods like that, and doing short, focused playthroughs. Maybe there'll be 3 or 4 episodes like my Conan series. Perhaps they'll be even longer, like the Falskar one, but I will probably do things like that, and probably some of them will be with Richard, and occasionally some of them will be with other characters. I mean, for example, the Undeath mod, I've always wanted to try that. And of course, that would be more appropriate for one of my evil characters. Perhaps Steve, although, again, we do have the problems with the Steve save being a little bit mangled. So, anyway, I mean, there are options there. However, so Skyrim may make the occasional return. Perhaps I'll even do the odd special, Christmas special. I don't know. Maybe I'll just pick some quests. Maybe I'll just, I don't know, go visit an old friend or something. So there will be the odd video. It's probably not the last you've seen of Richard. It's just that the main story has ended and there won't be any more big chapters. There will be the occasional thing coming out. Maybe. But don't hold me to it. I'm not promising it. I'm just saying it's possible. So that does, of course, bring up the question, what is next, both for Let's Plays and non-Let's Plays? Mod Organizer next part is 90% done content-wise, and then I have to polish it. I was having some problems with that one. It went through a couple of drafts before I got it to a point where A, it was factually correct, and B, not ridiculously boring, because it's conflicts and priorities. It's not the most stunningly interesting subject, but I think we've got it right now, and I'm going to knock that out in the next couple of days, hopefully. For Let's Plays, of course, Jack's story is going to continue in whatever random direction it goes in. Another Let's Play that I am going to start very, very soon, next day or so, is Wasteland 2. Now, I do know for some people that's not going to be good news, because Wasteland 2 is very Fallout-ish. For those that don't know, the original Wasteland game, which came out a long time ago, is the spiritual predecessor of Fallout. In some ways, they're kind of similar games, very, very similar genre. And, of course, I'm going to be doing FNV and Wasteland 2 at the same time, so if you're not into that kind of style, I do appreciate that's not good news for you. But please, don't complain. It's not deliberate. I didn't go out of my way to do this. It's just Wasteland 2 has finally become a release game. It's been early access for a long time. I've owned the game since the start, but I didn't want to play it because I didn't want to show it whilst it was in alpha or early access and that type of thing. Now it's basically ready to play. I really want to play it. I really, really, really do want to play it, and if I don't play it and play something else just because I know people will complain, I'll resent that something else. So even though I know a few people are going to be upset with me, I do apologise, but it's something I feel I have to do because I really want to play it. I do want to record it, my first playthrough, so that's going to happen. For other games, I'm probably going to start a new Let's Play of something. Now, there are quite a few obvious candidates. Things I can tell you that will be getting played in the near future. And by near future, I mean before the end of this year. Mass Effect. I'm definitely going to start Mass Effect sometime in the next few months. Before Christmas, I'm going to start that. I really do want to play again. So that is going to happen. I am going to play the Stalker Clear Skies, probably not in the next couple of months, but I would imagine that's short to mid-term. Possibly, again, towards the middle of winter, I might start playing that one. And, you know, I do want to play those games, but I've just played a major Stalker playthrough. And then there are a few other games. Now, I would like to have a fantasy Let's Play, because I do know a lot of my subscribers are big fans of fantasy, and there are a lot of candidates for games I would like to play. There are some obvious choices. For example, The Witcher. I've played number 1 halfway through, and I am thinking of restarting and playing the first Witcher, the director's cut edition or whatever it is. I do own The Witcher 2 as well, so obviously those games are something that probably you should play from the start if you want to get the story, and Witcher 3 is coming out, so this does look like an obvious choice. I think the first time I played it on the mid difficulty. That was quite a long time ago, I can't quite remember. I am interested in trying it on the toughest difficulty. I'm not totally sure how hard it is, and how much fun it would be to watch. I don't know if it's just one of those games that's so insane on the hardest difficulty it would be boring to watch, but I'm sure you guys are going to fill in the blanks for me on that one. Another choice is Dragon Age Origins. The new Dragon Age game is coming out, and I'm certainly going to be playing that. And I'm a big lover of Origins. I actually played it several times through. I can't remember too much about it. I remember the basic story. I remember all the characters, but I probably can't remember the exact quests that were going on all the time. But I've played it, and I've played it a lot, so, you know, it's a game I would like. Well, I want to play Inquisition, and I'm probably going to record it, but I'm wondering if it'd be weird for me to just play that one when people haven't seen me play the other one. They're probably unconnected stories, so in many ways I could probably skip that game. Now, I know a lot of people would like me to play it, they'd like to watch, and it is definitely one I'm considering. But again, it is one I've played, and I do have a lot of games that I've not played. Or, for example, with Witcher, where I've played a little but not all of it, and there's a new one coming out. The other option is a game that was bought for me, and that game is Divinity Original Sin, and it's gotten very, very good reviews. This is another RPG, and it does look, I mean, they describe it as a back-to-the-roots RPG adventure, and I don't know, quite like the idea of that one, so I'm thinking a Let's Play of that game. And I mean, I do have several other games that have been bought for me. I've got Fable as well, but those are the three that sort of jump out as options. And there are so many other games I do want to play as Let's Plays or on the stream. So, you know, don't worry if you've bought me a game, and I have been bought so many games. Thank you for that, by the way. I will get around to playing them eventually, I hope. And I've got Two Worlds 2. I've played Two Worlds, the original, although I can barely remember it. So I suppose that would make a decent Let's Play at some point down the road. And there was... Oh, right, yes. BioShock. The BioShock series. I have BioShock 1 and 2. I would like to do a Let's Play of those. I think that's a little further down the line, though. So we will just have to see. So, as you can see, I've got a lot of things I'm considering. Wasteland 2 is the only one I can confirm right now. Mass Effect I can confirm is going to happen. I just can't say when. And I would say at least one fantasy Let's Play is going to start soon-ish. As to which, I don't know. I may even do some straw polling. Yeah, might be a good idea. See how it goes. Because I am very undecided on the issue of the fantasy playthrough. I almost wish that something like Skywind would drop, or another one of the major Skyrim overhauls, because that would literally be a dead cert. Okay, no, that one wins. Skywind would beat everything right now. I would love that. And no, I'm not going to play Morrowind. I'm not going to do a Morrowind playthrough when Skywind is so close. And by so close, I mean possibly here next year. Because I don't want to do what will essentially be the same playthrough on a new engine. I want to go back to Morrowind on the new engine, completely fresh, and just try and capture that old feeling of Morrowind without the frustrations of going back to that old engine with all of its old niggles and flaws. Apart from that, well, of course, I'm going to continue playing Portal 2 with Che. Don't worry, that's not really interfering with any of the other videos. That's something we do in the evening. I do need to take a little time to edit it, but it's not that big a deal. So those will just mostly be extra videos. I probably have a little bit more Stanley Parable to try out, and perhaps there will be a few more of those videos. But I think that is it. Obviously, I'm going to try and get the Skyrim mod Sanctuary out this week. I won't have to do a massive finale episode, so there should be an episode of that, at least at the end of the week, and the mod organizer video I'm hoping in the next day or so. So there you go. I believe that is it. That is what has been happening the last few days and what will be happening in the future. Feel free to leave comments and feedback as to what you would like to see down below. It does actually help, especially on things where I'm not sure what I want to do. You know, it sometimes helps to see which you guys like. There are some things I'm going to play just because I am going to play them, Wasteland 2, and feel free to comment on it, but it's not going to stop me playing it. I am definitely going to play that. And and the live streaming is still going on. For those of you who are new to my channel and don't know, I also live stream usually Sundays, Wednesdays and Fridays. Fridays is the big night. That's XCOM at the moment, the Long War mod. But I play a few other games. Payday 2, I play with a lot of you guys. Lichdom I've been trying out. The Fistful of Frags. And there are a host of other games that I want to try and I will stream. And you guys are more than welcome to join me for that. But I also have a second YouTube channel where I dump a lot of the stuff I do live, fairly unedited, fairly long videos, but I put them there because they're easier to watch than watching them on Twitch's archives, which is notoriously bad. Oh, and my website has been re-released. We have got it up and running on WordPress. We have got a system that's working at least to get the content in. I definitely need to get the content features improved. I want to add some way of linking videos to mods more automatically, so it's kind of useful. I also want to add some features where you will be able to search for a mod and see which videos I have made for that mod. So I've got a lot of things I want to add to it. It's still a work in progress, and I will keep you guys up to date. Technically, I haven't sort of given the big unrolling, but it's up there now. It has all of the content. You can go and check out some of the lists, but the menus at the moment are not that useful. In fact, they're no more useful than going along to the playlists on the YouTube channel. But it's there, and I am, with the help of quite a few volunteers, getting it up and running. We do have a forums there that is now active and moderated by some very helpful volunteers, Philosopher Cat and Zelphos especially. Thank you for all your help and time. And another big thanks to Damon Gant for basically getting my website up and running. And, thank you to everyone who has offered to help and who is helping out. So if you want to go and join the forums, you can do that. Oh, yes, Steam group. One last thing, Steam group. I have a Steam group called Steve's Minions, but there was already another Steve group called Gopher's Minions, and the guy that started that one has given me ownership of it, and just because it's now got the same name as the forums and God knows how many other things, we've decided to make that one the official channel. So if you're connected to Steve's Minions but not Gopher's Minions, go along and join that one. You can find it if you find me on Steam. You can find that. You can find the groups I'm in. Gopher's Minions. Steve's Minions will probably get closed down sometime soon-ish. And if you sent me an invite on Steam and you were hoping to get an invite on my friends list, I do apologise, but it's very difficult because there is a limit to how many you can have. That limit goes up the longer you've had your account and the more games you get and so on. But I need to save some spaces for when I'm playing, say, Payday. If I'm playing with someone, I'll add them to my friends list and so on. So I need a few spaces spare. It's not that I don't want to add everyone. It's just Steam won't let me. So I need to save some spaces for when I'm going to actually play a game with someone. So that is the only reason I'm not accepting those. It's not me being ignorant or difficult. So I do apologise. Go and complain to Steam and tell them that you should be able to have unlimited friends. That's a stupid thing, if you ask me. Really is a stupid thing. Not many people are going to have a huge friends list, but I don't see why they can't allow it. I can't see any technical programming reason why they can't allow it. I think it's annoying. I think they've done it in a way to try and encourage you to do all of the other Steam interaction things, because you can swap badges and get more friends. So, anyway, I didn't come here to rant about that either. And I think I was starting to say goodbye probably about 15 minutes ago, knowing me. So I'm going to wrap it up right now. There you go. Thank you for listening to the Ramble, and I hope it wasn't too painful. And I will see you guys soon.